is Ann Perera. This is the video on how to create a technique chart for radiology at the Nova Community College Vet Tech program. A technique chart is basically a user-friendly chart that everybody would use to make sure that you do have consistent density and contrast for your x-rays. Usually you would use about a medium-sized animal. I don't have one available today, so I'm using Mr. Boots the kitty. But as long as it's under 10 centimeters when you measure, then you can create a technique chart. We don't have one here. We don't use one here, but we do have one from the manufacturer of the x-ray unit. But basically what you would do is, following Sante's rule, you would measure, and then it's 2 times the thickness of tissue in centimeters. So we'll measure Boots and then do that. Plus the SID, which is 40. And then the grid factor, and most vet clinics are between 8 and 10, and they use an 8-to-1 grid. So I'm going to assume that this is an 8-to-1 grid. So you measure your animal, and then you multiply it by 2, then you add 40, and then you add the grid factor, and that comes up with your KVP. The KVP is basically the power behind the x-ray beam coming down. It's like your pool stick if you have a pool table. And then from there you figure out your MAs, which are basically the balls on the pool table. And those are the atoms shooting into your subject that you want to get an x-ray of. So if we start out with a certain number, you need to either go up or down 2 KVPs per centimeter. You can vary your KVPs depending on your centimeters to get your density and your contrast right. So you would finagle it that way. Set the x-ray machine, basically process your x-ray, and then go from there to see if you have the right contrast and density. So for Boots today, hi mister! So for Bootsy today, oops, hang on. Basically you would put him on the table, lay him out laterally, and for an abdominal x-ray you really want to go past about the 13th rib, because it's the thickest part. The 13th rib, and then position him properly. So see, he's a fat kitty. He's about 16. Position him properly on the table, like so, and then measure him laying down so that it's the smallest width of what you're measuring, and then go from there. I'm gonna get you back. So depending on what you come up with, like I said, you can finagle the KVPs up to or down to get your contrast and density. That's my video.